now. Please mute your mic as you're coming in. Data, get data. I want to get data from file. Like I showed us earlier, the file that we have is actually an Excel workbook. But we don't just want to use it as is, just like that. We want to build a data model. Okay, so I'll open from workbook, and it will take me to where I have my folder. I will just do a quick direction. My folder is under downloads, and under downloads, I have a folder called FAO data. And under FAO data, I have another folder called World Food Production Indices. That is where I have the Excel sheet I would like to be working with. Okay, so the first sheet I would like to introduce is this one called Gen Food Production Indices. That's General Food Production Indices. Okay, when I clicked on that, it opens a Power Query panel for me. This is a Power Query panel. And the sheet I want to work with is sheet 1, because that is the only existing sheet on that particular Gen Food Production Indices. I will click on sheet 1 and select Transform Data. Transform Data enables me to edit the table before uploading it to my data center. Now that I've opened, I selected Transform Data. If you notice, my table header started from row 1, and I'm seeing something like column 1, column 2, which is wrong. I'm having a wrong table header, so I need to fix that. To fix that, all I simply need to do is select Use First Row as Headers. So I will click on that, and then my actual header has now been promoted. I have country, I have 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and grand total. Okay, so I think my data is okay. ABC 1.2, 1.2 shows the data type. ABC simply means that the data type present in this particular column are text elements. 1.2 simply means that the data type present in this particular column are integers and also decimal numbers. Okay, so that said, I think we are good to go on this particular table. So I will close it. Right here at the edge, this icon that says close and load to, I'll click the drop down and select close and load to. Close and load to, and this pop-up will show up. I want to create a connection and add this data to the data model. We'll see why we have to do that shortly. And then I will click on OK. Our table is loading. It has been loaded successfully. As you can see, 6 rows loaded. But we can't see it on the workbook. Don't worry, it's there somewhere. So I still have more sheets to upload using Power Query. So I'll go back to get data from file, from workbook. This time around, I'm working with this particular sheet called Food Product Indices. I will double click on it to select. This is where we have the countries. I'll start from the very first, which is Canada, and then I will click on Transform Data. Please click on Transform Data first. If you click on Load, you don't have an option to edit challenges. As you can see, just like we experienced in the first table, instead of us to have food product as the header, I'm seeing column 1. It means we need to transform this data to fix such issues. Okay, so now I can promote my header now, just like we did before. So I'll select Use First Row as header on my Power Query panel, and it's okay. And I will check for null values. I know this data doesn't have null values because I cleaned it up before making use of it to save time. Okay, everything looks fine. The data types are well represented. The data types are well represented, ABC here, 1.2 here, all the way to the country. The country shows ABC. Great. So I will close and load to. I will close and load to, create connection and add this data to data model. Now our Canada sheet has been uploaded successfully. I'll go back to data. So it's the same thing. Please mute your mic. The class is being recorded. Please mute your mic. Okay, so the next is Ghana. Transform data. Okay, quickly, I'll just close and load to. I already know the data is fine. So I'll use first row as header, and then close and load to quickly, and then only create connection and add this data to the data model. Then the next is same process. The next is India, transform data. Use first row as headers. Close and load to. Create connection, add this data to data model. Do same for the next data. Sorry, now at this point I'm in a hurry since we now know the step. So I'm just quickly trying to add all of the data we need as soon as possible. Okay. Use first row as header. Okay, so I don't have one total. Close and load to. Only create connection, add this to data model. And then the next. Nigeria. Same thing, use first row as header. My data were already cleaned. So all of that was just to simply save time. So I don't have to dwell on cleaning data or dwell on the use of Power Query for a long time. Okay. Then finally, use first row as header. I need to be sure. Okay. I removed an unwanted column called grand total on my Rwanda sheet so that we don't have wrong data. And then close and load to. Only create connection, add this data to our data model. Now, this sheet 1, I would like to give it a name instead of sheet 1. That sheet contains all like a generic table. So I would like to rename sheet 1 and call it food indices. Okay, rename. All right. When I'm done, I'll just simply close and load. Now we have loaded 7 tables into this empty workbook, but we can't see all of the things we uploaded. Where do we see it? Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, sorry for the break in transmission. If you go to the data section of your workbook, you will see this icon here, this green icon here. It's called Power Pivot. When you click on it, it will open. Sorry, please hold on.